What is the soul? Why can't we see it? Where is it located? How is it different from the body? What is the purpose of the soul? My name is Max, and today I want to share some deep knowledge about the soul with you. You know, I often wondered, why can't we see the soul? Why is it so easy to deny its existence? I remember how my physics professor in college confidently stated that the soul doesn't exist because no instruments can detect it. But later, when I began studying the Vedas, I understood a simple truth. Many things remain invisible to our eyes. Can we see air or radio waves or thoughts? I remember as a child trying to see the wind by running outside during a storm. I only saw moving leaves and trees, but not the wind itself. I found answers to these questions in ancient Vedic sacred texts. These aren't made-up stories by bloggers or modern scientists. This is the oldest science about how our world works. Vedic knowledge is very logical and consistent, and it answers all life's questions. The Shvetashvatara Upanishad says, if you split a hair tip into 100 parts and then split each of those parts into 100 more, the size of one such part equals the size of the eternal soul. No wonder we can't see it. But we can detect its presence through external signs. When I deeply studied the Vedas, I was amazed by how precisely they describe the nature of the soul. From the sacred texts, I learned that the soul is in the body, and it's the owner of the body. The soul should control the body just like I control my car. When I was sitting in traffic, I thought that I am not my car. I can drive the car, I can get out of it, I can change it for another one, or I can walk instead. Similarly, the soul controls the body, but is not the body. We just don't imagine life without our body because we're attached to it. It's like being attached to and dependent on our car, but we're not part of the car. There's no difference in which body the soul exists, in a human body, a dog, an elephant, a tree, or a fish. In any of these bodies, the soul is the same in quality. The only difference is in the amount of money spent on the car or karma that the soul has accumulated. I'll talk about karma later. The soul always has consciousness. This is its essential quality. Even if we can't detect where it is, in the heart of a living being, we can still establish its presence by the existence of consciousness. It's like the sun behind clouds. I remember during a flight above the clouds, I was amazed by how brightly the sun was shining, although it was cloudy on the ground that day. Sometimes we don't see the sun, but the light spread everywhere shows that it's daytime. Similarly, consciousness in each body indicates the presence of a soul. Without a soul, the body is dead. When a person or animal dies, the soul leaves the body. Nobody is interested in a dead body. It's frightening because it has no life. People try to get rid of it quickly. When I was at my grandfather's funeral, I suddenly clearly understood what the Vedas were saying. This body is not the person I lived with for so many years. It's just a shell that will soon disappear. All his jokes, wise advice, warm hugs, all of this was his soul, not his body. I didn't miss the body. I missed my grandfather's soul. It's the soul we love and build relationships with. At that moment, my little niece asked me why Grandma didn't want Grandpa to be buried in his favorite suit. Because this isn't Grandpa anymore, I answered her, remembering Vedic truths. Grandpa has gone, and this body is just his old clothing. We are not these bodies. We are souls. The body is not us. The body is just a tool that allows the spiritual soul to act in this world. A few days ago, I saw an ad for an expensive face rejuvenation procedure at some fancy salon. Actually, caring more about the body than the soul is just silly. It's like spending all your money decorating and upgrading a car that will be scrapped tomorrow. The soul is eternal. It doesn't die. It simply leaves the body, which by its nature is always dead. The presence of the soul keeps the body alive. That's why we should pay more attention to the needs of the soul, not the temporary body. The soul, despite its tiny size, moves the entire body. It gives the body the ability to perform many different activities. Once I was standing at a viewing platform looking at the panorama of a huge city, the thought was spinning in my head. Who created all this? At that moment, I remembered words from the Vedas. All this was created by the tiny spiritual spark inside the body, the soul. And the body is just a machine that this soul controls. Where does the soul go after it leaves the body? I had a period in my life when I was afraid of death, but then, studying the Vedas, I found an amazingly logical explanation for what happens after death. The Bhagavad Gita says, "As a person takes off old clothes and puts on new ones, the soul enters new material bodies, leaving the old and useless ones behind." This clothing analogy completely changed my attitude toward death. We don't die. We just change bodies, like we change clothes. According to the Vedas, the soul can be born in a human body, an animal, a plant, and even a stone. It can be a body meant for hellish suffering on special planets, or it can be a body suited for life in paradise. Once I was watching a documentary about deep-sea creatures living near thermal vents at the bottom of the ocean, and I remembered words from the Vedas. Living beings are in every corner of creation. They live on land, in water, air, underground, and even in fire. In the Bhagavad Gita, I found amazing words. This individual soul cannot be broken into pieces, dissolved, burned, or dried up. Unchangeable, motionless, and eternal, it exists everywhere and always keeps its properties. This journey of the soul from one body to another in the Vedic tradition is called reincarnation or samsara, the cycle of births and deaths. I will definitely make a separate video about reincarnation, so subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it. By studying the Vedas, I came to a deep understanding that consciousness is one of the characteristics of the soul. If there is consciousness or a soul in the body, it can feel pain or joy, thirst or cold. As a child, I watched ants and decided to conduct an experiment. I set their anthill on fire. My parents shouting stopped me, but I didn't understand that I was doing something bad. After all, they're just insects. Now, having studied the Vedic scriptures, I know that in any body, the soul has the right to live, even in the body of an ant. When I became a vegetarian, many friends were surprised by my decision. "Do you really think plants don't feel pain?" they asked. Thanks to the Vedas, I understood. Yes, plants also feel pain, though to a lesser extent than animals, and there's no need to deliberately cause them pain when collecting fruits. We can take what the plant gives us without harming it. An apple that has ripened, a carrot that won't grow anymore, grain that has dried in the sun. Understanding these truths from the Vedic scriptures led me to the concept of ahimsa, nonviolence, and as a result, to vegetarianism. A person can eat vegetables and fruits, milk, grains. From these products, you can prepare hundreds and thousands of delicious vegetarian dishes. But killing an animal, including chicken, fish, and even an unborn bird in an egg, or paying a butcher for this killing, is wrong. Otherwise, severe punishment will follow. If you're interested in learning what individual and global consequences meat eating leads to, write about it in the comments. This is a very interesting and important topic. So, the soul is you and me. Each of us is an individual soul, and each of us has a purpose in this world. Vedic scriptures explain that the soul's purpose can be viewed on two levels: material and spiritual, temporary and eternal. On the material, temporary level, the soul acts according to the karma of its body. Karma is our destiny. It's the path that the soul must walk after being born in a new body, based on actions performed in past lives. At one time, I silently watched how my friend, despite his hard work and talent, failed in business again and again. At the same time, another acquaintance of mine, who wasn't particularly smart, easily succeeded in any venture. The Vedas gave me understanding. You can't change karma by ordinary methods. You can't change a person's date of birth or death. You can't increase your health level or lifespan with doctor's help if it's not allowed by karma. Also, you can't increase the amount of money that will come to the soul during its life in a material body. All these resources are given to us for life in a certain amount. If, according to karma, a person is meant to become a millionaire, they will become one by any means. If, according to karma, a person is not meant to have a lot of money, then all their efforts to earn millions will not succeed. At least not in this life. But in the next life, their work will bear fruit. Every resident of India, where Vedic knowledge came from, knows this. But why is this so rarely known in the West? If a person lives only for material things and identifies themselves with the body, then their purpose in the material world will definitely find them. Some people must live life as a mother of 10 children, others as politicians, and some as drug addicts. I remember my classmate who always said, "I want to be rich and famous, and I don't need anything else." His karma allowed him to achieve this. He became a famous showman and earned a lot of money. But when I met him recently, he looked like a deeply unhappy person. Vedic scriptures explained to me why this happened. Finding your material purpose doesn't mean you'll become happy. You'll just not be unhappy for some time. Sooner or later, we'll all come to the same result. The soul will leave the body and move to another one. The soul won't remember its past body, past life, or plans for it. It won't remember friends, relatives, or loved ones. Its new life in a new body will start with a clean slate. Almost clean, since the burden of karma will dictate the conditions in which the soul will live in the new body. Everything that was achieved in the past body will remain in the past life. We'll all leave at the end of life with empty hands. In the Bhagavad Gita, I found amazing words that give me comfort. The soul is never born nor dies. It never came into being, is not coming into being, and will not come into being. It is unborn, eternal, ever-existing, and primeval. It is not killed when the body is killed. If the soul in a human body lives simply to satisfy the basic needs of the body, food, sleep, self-defense, sex, then in the next life, it will be born either in an animal's body or on hellish planets, because these four needs are the meaning of life for an animal. But the human body is meant for self-realization. My daughter has a cat. Her whole day consists of eating, sleeping, playing, and washing herself. When I see her, I always think about this. If I live the same way, eating, sleeping, taking care of my body, and having fun, then how am I different from an animal? The soul in a human body should at some point remember that it's not the body, that it's eternal, and that besides this temporary material world, there is an eternal spiritual world, which is the eternal home for the soul, that is, for you and me. And in this eternal home, we are awaited by the one who loves us more than anything in the world, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or simply God. God is a person, the Supreme Person. He possesses all the riches in the universe, all knowledge, glory, power, and beauty. Yes, God is not a gray-haired old man. He is an incredibly handsome young man, but he is completely unattached to all of this. The only thing he wants is to love and be loved. That's what we want too, isn't it? I remember how in my college years I participated in a philosophy club where we discussed different concepts of God. I never liked the idea of an impersonal absolute. Inside, I felt that God must be a person. And when I read about this in the Vedas, it was like a revelation. Vedic scriptures explained to me that we're all looking for love. We need money so that we're loved. Beauty so that we're loved. Fame so that we're loved. But God, unlike us, wants to love himself, not just receive love. He wants to give, care, communicate, and build relationships because he is a person and he has desires. But they're not as selfish as ours. God always thinks about each soul, about each of us, not about himself. God is the creator of everything in the world, including each soul. The soul is created in the image and likeness of God, as all sacred texts of different religious denominations say. Once I was looking at my little nephew, who looks so much like my brother, and thought, this is how we look like God. The Vedas confirmed my thoughts. We are the same as God, but small. We can possess a piece of his glory, his beauty, power, strength, kindness, and any other qualities. But we can never become God, because God is one. What then can the soul expect? The soul is by its nature a part of God, and it was created to bring joy to God. If you created something, you would likely do it to get enjoyment from that creation. So it is with God. He created us to receive lots and lots of love, to enjoy us, and in return, to give us even more love. And until the soul understands and accepts this and starts changing its life to learn more and more about God, until then, it will never be truly happy. How many times in my life have I asked questions about the spiritual world? Countless times, and each time the answer slipped away from me, until I immersed myself in studying the Vedas. That's where I discovered an amazing truth. In the spiritual world, there are infinite souls, just like you and me. And what's amazing, they know how to love just like God, completely forgetting about themselves. I often see people around me who are happy, laughing. I see couples in love holding hands. But our earthly love and joy is just a dim reflection of the love that exists in the spiritual world. But this love is not enough for God. He is so hungry for love that he wishes for every lost soul to return to his kingdom. And this is not just Vedic knowledge. All religious traditions in the world talk about this. I'll make a separate video about God too, so subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it. When the soul gets tired of endlessly flowing with the current of material life, being born in new bodies again and again, it begins to seek a higher meaning. And then a miracle happens. It meets a spiritual teacher, usually from the religious tradition in which it will be easier for this soul to grow and develop. The teacher reveals to the soul the truth about its purpose, its original position, and introduces it to God from a distance. I remember a case from my own life. Many years ago, I found myself in a deep crisis. Work brought no satisfaction, relationships with loved ones became strained, the future seemed foggy, and it was precisely at this moment that I met a person who later became my spiritual mentor. At first, I just observed him, how he lived, how he treated people, what goals he set for himself. His inner peace and wisdom impressed me so much that I decided to ask him to become my guide. To begin a spiritual path, it's necessary to meet someone who already has a relationship with God. You need to observe such a person, understand their goals and lifestyle. And if such a life seems attractive to you, ask this person to become your mentor. Ask questions about the meaning of life. Do something for your teacher as a sign of gratitude. These are the traditional relationships between guru and disciple, which are mentioned in the Vedic scriptures. If the teacher is pleased with your service and questions, he will certainly share the most intimate knowledge about God and the relationship with Him. And then your spiritual path will become clear, and life will gain the highest meaning. Watch the ants building an ant hill. They move in different directions, but all their actions are subordinated to a single goal. Some ants stray from the path, but others guide them back. Doesn't this remind you of our own path? Sometimes we wander, stray from the course, but there is always an opportunity to return to the right path with the help of spiritual knowledge and a spiritual mentor. If you want to learn more about the soul and the meaning of its existence, I recommend reading the book Bhagavad Gita as it is, translated and with commentary by Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. I've left all the book titles and links in the video description. About reincarnation, the meaning of life, vegetarianism, spiritual growth, karma, the structure of the universe, and other interesting topics on self-development, watch my other videos.